Only in politics do we have to measure how much somebody evades what is obvious. Don't say it. Don't say it. We're doing just fine. It's very interesting to see Trump not believe he needs to amp up the volume of venom.
What you just witnessed wasn't just any old town hall. No, this was Vance's big moment to shine. Only he didn't shine. He sputtered, he fumbled, he faceplanted in rhetorical quicksand. And Cuomo? Buddy was tossing little reality check grenades like he was playing dodgeball with a blindfolded JV team. Let's talk about the crowd first. Oh, they were hyped, but not in that change my mind kind of way. More like, I already bought the t-shirt and the conspiracy theory, so don't confuse me with facts. Vance came in with talking points cooked up in some DC bunker. And, surprise, surprise, they didn't land. Not even a wobble, just crickets and confused stares.
And there was a flurry of activity on, and that has to do with immigration.
Sure.
The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops this week condemned some of the executive orders signed by President Trump.
Cuomo asked real questions, straightforward ones. Not even gotcha stuff, just basic, like, hey, what exactly do you do for working people besides write hot takes on immigration? And Vance? He danced around like a raccoon caught in someone's attic. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like to see more content just like this. He mumbled about hardened criminals and cartels, like he was auditioning for a discount Tom Clancy flick. And oh man, the cherry on top? The moment he tried to defend that whole people eating dogs and cats thing in Springfield. Absolute circus. He actually tried to say he was just listening to his constituents. Bruh, that's not listening. That's spreading weird neighborhood gossip like your aunt at Thanksgiving. But the real gut punch? Trump calling in like some B-movie villain cameo. Suddenly Vance is sweating like it's his parole hearing. He's trying not to say the wrong thing, stammering through praise like a nervous intern. Trump basically told him, in front of everybody, don't mess this up for me, kid. Meanwhile, Cuomo's just sitting there, eyes twinkling, letting Vance unravel himself like a discount sweater from a Florida flea market. No yelling, no drama, just surgical, slow-burn wreckage. It was brutal. It was delicious.
I'm shocked Chris Cuomo did a completely fair job with Vance, despite not liking Trump. Wasn't sure he was capable.
It was all live on X, you know? The artist formerly known as Twitter. 1 million people tuned in, probably expecting a civil political chat. What they got instead was JD trying to gaslight America with a grin while Cuomo played fact-checker, therapist, and dad who's had enough of your BS all in one. JD started off like he was reading from a bumper sticker, talking about freedom and persuasion, but sounding more like he wanted to stick duct tape over anyone who disagrees with him. It wasn't long before the chat was lit up with people calling him out. Even folks who can't stand Cuomo were like, wait, why is Chris making sense right now? One viewer, screen name Bulletproof Gal, which, let's be honest, sounds like someone who keeps mace in her purse and lives for debate night, said she was surprised Cuomo kept it fair. That might have been the only thing fair happening because JD's answers? Yikes. This guy got asked real questions and responded like he was auditioning for a high school play called How to Dodge Responsibility in 3 Acts. He danced around facts like the floor was lava, and his go-to move? Blame someone else. The audience picked up on it fast. One user literally said JD made them sick to their stomach. That's not disagreement. That's gastrointestinal distress from too many political fibs. And let's talk about the cat and dog comment. Yes, he seriously said migrants were eating cats and dogs, like some sort of bad horror story from the back of Facebook. When Cuomo called him out, JD's defense basically boiled down to, well, people are paying attention now, aren't they? Oh, sure, let's all just start making up stuff. Maybe next week he says aliens are stealing our Wi-Fi passwords. Who knows? But here's the kicker. JD still tried to play the victim. He acted like he was being picked on, like he was the nerdy kid in gym class and Cuomo was chucking dodgeballs at his head. Except in this version, JD brought the dodgeballs himself, drew a target on his face, and dared someone to aim.
Do I like his answer about the migrants? No, I don't. Why? Because they were wrong, the people who were telling him they were eating cats and dogs.
Cuomo, for all his dramatic TV energy, actually tried to keep it balanced. He even gave Kamala Harris a nod, saying, people judge her harder than they do Trump. And boy, did that set the comment section on fire. One viewer said Harris needed to keep her word salad at home. But hey, at least she doesn't serve it with a side of conspiracy theory. Then there was JD's vibe. Like a guy who just read a Jordan Peterson quote and now thinks he's Socrates. All smug, no substance. He wanted to sound deep, but he kept tripping over his own logic. Like, if you're gonna lie, at least pick lies that don't make people wonder if you Googled dumb things to say at a town hall. Even people trying to give him credit were stretching. Well, he seemed more likable than before. Yeah, sure, and a root canal with jazz music is still a root canal. Look, town halls are supposed to help voters see who's real and who's full of it. JD Vance had a golden opportunity to win hearts, and instead he brought a shovel and dug himself deeper. Cuomo didn't even have to go full attack mode. JD practically handed him the ammo and said, "Please roast me." Final verdict? JD Vance walked in trying to look presidential and walked out looking like a guy who forgot his homework and blamed the dog.
I'm not down on JD Vance. I'm just down on one tactic, okay? JD Vance does not believe what he's saying to you. How do I know that?
Now, let's be honest. JD Vance isn't exactly the poster boy for conviction. This man once called Trump dangerous. Straight up compared him to you-know-who from World War II. And now he's out here massaging Trump's ego like it's a magic lamp. That kind of political gymnastics would make Simone Biles dizzy. Cuomo didn't even have to dig deep. He barely scratched the surface and Vance's whole act started falling apart. You could practically see the gears grinding in Vance's head as Cuomo poked holes in his whole routine, live and unsparing. Every time Cuomo brought up something real, Vance's whole vibe screamed, "Please don't ask follow-ups." But the real kicker? Vance had nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. When it came to the border plan, he threw out a few lines that sounded like they were cribbed from a group chat of interns. Cuomo, in response, rolled his eyes so hard it echoed. Vance looked like a guy who studied for the wrong test. And instead of owning it, he doubled down with vague buzzwords and a dash of fear-mongering.
Trump doesn't cut spending. He's using the proxy of going after the deep state as a way of changing the footprint of government, which is a traditional conservative concern.
It gets juicier. Cuomo didn't just torch his border babble. He lit up the whole charade. He called out both sides for pretending like throwing more bricks at a wall is going to magically solve immigration. Cuomo even dragged in Egypt's border with Palestine, just to show what a real wall looks like. Not to say we should build one like that, he made that clear, but just to say, hey, if you're going to talk about walls, at least know what one actually is. Then, Cuomo hit him with the knockout. Vance doesn't even believe the stuff he says, and honestly, that was the realest moment of the whole reaction. Because deep down, you can see it. Vance is just playing dress-up in MAGA cosplay, hoping no one notices that the zipper's wide open. The dude switched sides like he was changing seats at a wedding reception. And the only thing guiding his politics now is the scent of opportunity. Look, Chris tried to backtrack with his "I'm always open" speech, as if he were some wise monk on a mountain pondering the Constitution. He even said Trump isn't his man. But that didn't stop the media from going completely wild. Because let's face it, when someone with Cuomo's profile says anything even remotely kind about Trump, it fires up the conservative media machine like JD Vance at a Tucker Carlson barbecue. And let's talk about JD Vance. This man used to be anti-Trump until he realized there's money and power in kissing the ring. Now he follows him around like a lost puppy in a MAGA sweatshirt. If Chris Cuomo wanted to know what being open to Trump leads to, he only needs to take a look at JD Vance's soul. Oh wait, he sold out for a Senate seat.
If Donald Trump is banking on me for re-election, he's got trouble.
Right.
Why? Because he's not my guy, and I've said it a million different times and ways, but it's not my place to tell people to vote for.
Back to Cuomo, he tried to explain what he meant. He said he didn't support anyone and that he just wants people to think for themselves. That's fair. But when someone like him says, "I'm open to voting for Trump," people are going to talk. A lot. It's like saying, "I might like pineapple on pizza" on a cooking show. Even if you're joking, people will remember it and turn it into a big deal. So yeah, context matters, but the internet doesn't always wait for that. To be fair, Cuomo was trying to send a good message. He wants people to stay open-minded and not just pick a side like it's a sports team. But politics today is wild. And people like JD Vance take these little moments and turn them into headlines just to get attention.
Think that anybody at Mediaite believes that I'm open and espousing and advocating for people to vote for Trump.
Whoa!
But it's wrong for me to read in that the motive for you to read it in when it isn't there is because that's what you want to be able to say.
Then he got angry that the media didn't call him for comment before publishing the story. Dude, you've been in the news business for decades. You know how it works. They don't want accuracy, they want clicks. If you didn't want to be headline bait, you better not be pushing that juicy quote like it's a steak in a tiger cage. Let's not forget the big picture. While everyone's talking about what Chris said, Trump is out there trying to be president again, like it's the next season of a TV show. He's got tons of legal problems, but some politicians are still acting like he's the best thing ever. As for Chris, maybe next time he can be more clear. Like, if you're open to someone, explain what that means. Are you open to better healthcare, a cleaner planet, more fairness? That's what people really want to hear. And before we wrap this up, let's think about JD. If he really cares about regular people, why does he vote for stuff that helps rich folks with yachts but makes life harder for single moms? Doesn't sound very for the people, does it? If you enjoyed watching Chris Cuomo and want to see more content like this, don't forget to watch our video on Jimmy Kimmel and JD Vance. You won't want to miss it.